Welcome to Bridge to the Atlantic. We are your hosts, music web designer Ross Barber, owner of Electric Kiwi, where we create awesome custom websites for bands, artists, and musicians.
And I'm award-winning singer-songwriter and indie filmmaker Marcin Novelli, founder of the electronic rock band Midnight Soundtrack.
This week, we're pleased to welcome Canadian guitarist, producer, and YouTuber Cole Rolland to the show. Over the past few years, Cole has amassed over 100,000 subscribers and 18 million views of his covers and original tracks on YouTube, and has built a strong connection with his fan base on Twitter and Facebook.
Through his YouTube channel, Cole has collaborated with numerous other musicians and has been offered endorsements and production gear from EMG Pickups, Dunlop, Fractal, Audio, and more. We're excited to hear more about Cole's experience on YouTube and the advice he'd offer to fellow musicians. Hey Cole, how's it going?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey.
We are excited to hear 3 things about yourself that everyone should know.
Alright, well, I'll skip over, everyone knows I play guitar, obviously. A lot of people don't know that I produce all the backing tracks for my songs. So I take, if I'm going to do a cover, I'll just, take that song and I'll just basically gut it and do everything from scratch and create everything from the ground up. And a lot of people don't know I do that. And they'll be asking me, where'd you get your backing tracks? And I would be like, hey, I made that. So that's why they take so much longer than people think just to make, a guitar cover or, Another thing people don't know about me is that I work at a chemical production plant during the day all the time, and that might surprise a lot of people because most people think that I do YouTube full time, but it's kind of just back and forth between those two things, and it's what I went to college for. Another thing would be, Sorry, guys.
Well, I wanted to comment on, actually, when I heard your Paramore cover, which was just fantastic.
Thank you.
I did point out to Ross that the production value is great. All the music sounded good. It wasn't just a guitar and vocal cover. Yeah, and that's kudos to you.
I really do appreciate that because, a lot of people don't know it, and I've actually even made, a post about it, every just, here and there, because people just constantly ask me, and then they'll be like, whoa, you made that whole thing? And I'm like, yeah, man, made that whole thing.
Because you have to. It wouldn't sound right without it, right?
I think that's honestly, that's the most fun part about it, because when I started off doing stuff, I would just do guitar over top of the MP3 that I would just buy off iTunes or download illegally or whatever. But I would just shred a guitar over that, I guess. But now I find it so much more fun to be able to do all the mixing and do all the production and stuff on it and make the whole track, because then it's so much more my original production than just taking something from somebody else and throwing something over top of it. So,
absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. I have so much more fun doing that.
How many was that? Was that 1, 2?
We've got 2. We need one more.
We need one more. What's one more thing about you that everyone should know?
I was going to be in a band last year, and we spent a ton of money and so much time and stuff trying to get this thing to work. And it's just I guess the way of the industry sometimes, you think that you got everything all good to go and everything's all set up, and it just kind of fell apart. But the good thing that I got from it was I got to see so many talented people work at what they do. I got to shadow producers and watch how they do their job, and I got to meet some awesome people, hang out with a couple bands that I'm not sure if a lot of people know them, but
well, name them.
I'm good friends with the guys in Crown the Empire now, if you guys have heard of them.
Yeah, of course.
The guys in Issues are awesome, that kind of scene, and right. I got to hang out with those bands. I've played live with both of them too. I made some awesome connections, even just doing that whole pre-band thing for a year. And I even some of the guys that have been on my YouTube videos, Zachary David's one, he was the vocalist for my band, and Chris Champagne was the other guitar player. So I've gotten to work with them, and Tyler Brown was our drummer, and I've met awesome people through him as well. So it was actually a great experience getting to do that, even though the band didn't end up coming together. But all those guys are doing well now too, so I'm happy for them.
I can relate to those experiences.
Oh man, I guarantee.
Taking it away from your other thing, putting it all into there, and then all it takes is, it just, for whatever reason, not to get into details, it just doesn't work. You're I could have put all that time and energy into something else, but you got to take something away from it, right? You learn a lesson from it.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, man.
Of course.
But I don't know. It's good though. If you're able to kind of pull all the positive things out of it and just be okay, well, if I didn't do this and I didn't do this, I wouldn't have learned how to do this. And I don't know, it's good to just kind of like look back on it and be like, you know what, like I'm glad I did it, even though it didn't work out, but still learned a lot from it.
Cool. So you've built a pretty huge following on YouTube. Can you tell us maybe a little bit how you got started on YouTube and what advice you would give to other musicians who would like to do the same?
It's actually funny because I was buying a guitar online last night, and the guy that I was buying it from, he's like a senior in high school, and I was just messaging him back and forth, and then he's like, "Whoa, you're that guy from YouTube," and I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like casually buying a guitar from him, and he's like, "Do you mind if like I call you?" And we just like, because he kind of wanted to like get into the same like field as me of doing this stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure, because I wanted to talk about the guitar anyways. And I had like this exact conversation with him pretty much. And what I was saying is, like, aside from like putting the work in and like being unique and like doing something that people have to like go to you to see, like, it's like, because think of like how much is uploaded onto like YouTube, SoundCloud, and stuff like every single day,
every second.
Yeah, man. It's like the stats are insane for that. Mm-hmm. And like, if you can do something that people have to like uniquely go to you to see, then that's already going to make you stand out. And then on top of that, I was saying, like, don't be afraid to reach out to people that are like similar to what you're doing, people that inspire you, and like tell them that, because like if somebody if somebody was like inspired by what I do and they've like reached out to me and stuff, I think that's awesome. Like, I don't know, I always reply to those kind of messages, and I'm just like, wow, like, thank you so much. And like the person will like send me a video of them like doing something similar. I'll like always check it out because I'm just genuinely interested in it, right? So what happened with me is a guy named Eric Calderon. He goes by 331E-Rock on YouTube. If you guys have heard of him, he does like I always introduce him as like the meets metal guy. Like, he does like everything and puts it into like a metal version, anything from like Harry Potter to like I don't know, any video games or like viral videos or whatever. But he was a guy that when I started doing YouTube, like, I really looked up to him, and we were doing kind of like a really similar thing. And I reached out to him after I'd gotten like 10, 15 videos up, and I was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to shoot this guy a message and see what he has to say, and like maybe we can start talking some more. So me and him started talking, and from then on, like, he started, this is like back in the day on YouTube, like old YouTube, when somebody would like or comment on one of your videos, and it would just like draw so much traffic to you, because it would show up on their feed, right? Do you remember like the old like YouTube feed?
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd go to like on the person's channel, and they'd have like the tabs, and then the one was the feed tab, and he was already like really well established, so he started liking my videos or like throwing just a comment here and there, and it would just like drive so much traffic to my channel. I was like, holy shit, like, this is awesome. So that encouraged me to keep going. And then I ended up doing like an original song back in, it's like the end of 2012, so like my second year of college. And I ended up just shooting him a message just out of the blue, just being like, I don't know, it was like shot in the dark kind of. I was like, you know what, hey man, do you want to be on a song? And he messaged me back right away, and he's like, yeah, I definitely do. So we ended up just doing this collaboration together. And then from there on, he started to kind of introduce me, because like since we've worked together at this point, he started to introduce me to like the companies I work with now. So EMG, and then EMG loved it. And then the guy from EMG just like opened like so many doors for me. So it comes down to like, don't be afraid to talk to people and be nice to everybody. And yeah. I don't know. And then it opens doors for you, man. Because like you never want to like burn your bridges, you know? Because you never know who you never know who you're gonna like piss off, and it could be seriously the wrong person.
We know that
totally, because the music industry is so much smaller than I think anyone realizes. Like, everyone is connected. It's like every day I find that someone I know knows someone else I know, who knows someone else I know, who knows someone else I know, and it's just like this crazy kind of like little weird kind of a tangled web, I guess. And yeah, you're right. You don't want to piss someone off. And I think what you said as well about just asking a question,
yeah,
you know, maybe not even not even expecting a response, or not expecting something big to come of it. You just never know. If you don't ask, you don't get. And I've become more confident myself in asking for stuff that I would never have asked for maybe a year or two ago. You know, there's no harm in asking. Man,
that is like the like so true, man. Because like, you're never gonna get any answers if you don't ask the questions. So I don't know. It's super true. And like what you said about the music industry being smaller than people think, that is like so accurate. It's crazy, man. And that's another thing I learned from like doing the whole thing with like my old band and stuff last year, is so many, like everybody knows everybody. Like it was actually crazy to see that. And then just like, I don't know, you meet one person, they introduce you to this person that you knew before and this person, and like they all know each other, and you're like, whoa, like you're all just caught in the middle of it now. But it's really cool. I loved it.
Yeah, it's actually interesting we have you on the show, because I think a few months ago, I'd actually told Ross it would be a really cool idea for me to collaborate with different artists that we've had on the show and do a similar thing where, I record something and ask someone else. It was more of a kind of a postal service type thing, have another artist add in a few other, and the whole idea is that you just, mostly with covers, right? And you end up reaching a whole other audience, because you're sharing an audience, and you're just sharing each other and they're in your fan bases, right? So I guess the question I have for you is like, how has that helped you and the artists that you've collaborated with in terms of building an audience? Oh
man, that's like the best decision I ever made, was starting to collaborate with other people, is because I don't know, I felt like at a point just doing just guitar instrumentals and stuff, like it was entertaining for most people for like a while, and then my channel started to kind of just like level off, and I was like, like I need something fresh and interesting, and like what's better than bringing in new people that have like already established kind of fan bases and stuff, and bring them onto my channel, and then people kind of get the best of both worlds, and people that don't know either of us like might come across our video from somebody else sharing it. Like the internet's amazing. It's so crazy, because like things can happen just like that, and I don't know. So it was cool. Absolutely, because,
but like you said, it's about standing out, right?
Seriously, yeah. So
and a bit of luck there too, like you said, when you were getting, yeah.
So yeah, it was like, I don't even know. Nobody really like suggested that I started doing it, but I just kind of decided one day, I was like, what would be sweet? Like I haven't collaborated with vocalists ever, and I've already been doing this for, at that point, like 2.5, 3 years. And started just like reaching out to some vocalists that were already like established online. Brian Storm's one. I did my first vocal collaboration with him, and I put it out, and the immediate like reaction that people had was, it was like seriously like a 50-50 split. Like, I don't want vocals on this, or like, oh my god, I love this, like I want to see more. And that was like sketching me out a little bit, because I was like, I don't know if like we should keep doing this because of all like the hate comments and stuff, but it ended up like turning out really well, and I was proud of it too. So
no, I strongly think that you made the right decision.
Thank you.
Because it just brings in a whole other audience, instead of just people that are. I think without the vocals, you're bringing in mostly musicians. I would say, people that would appreciate what you're playing, but mostly musicians. We're bringing a vocalist, and you're bringing just a whole other crowd in.
Exactly.
That aren't musicians that just want to hear music. Right.
I totally agree with that.
I want to ask you about your Patreon page that you recently launched, because we actually recently launched one ourselves.
Okay.
And it's a little difficult to really. It's always difficult to convince people to give you money. It's as simple as that, right? So we'd love to hear what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, and if you have any tips for artists and podcasters like ourselves who want to give it a try.
So I got into doing that because Eric, like the guy I mentioned him previously in this, he got onto it, and he was just like killing it on it, and I was like, oh, this is really sweet. Like, it's actually a cool way for somebody to really end up like making a living off of that kind of stuff, if they have like people that are like looking forward to that stuff all the time, and they are like pledging money because they love your content and stuff. And those are going to be like your like hardcore fans, right? Like those are going to be the people that like want to get on Skype calls with you. Like they want to know more about your life. Like they want to, I don't know, people that are like just above and beyond to like really support you. So like they do really deserve to have like something special, and that's like different than like the kind of the general population of people that watch your stuff.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So I thought, I don't know, I was trying to think of like ideas of like stuff that people have like always been asking me for, because like, I don't know, like people, you'll always get requests. Like I'm sure you guys get requests all the time, like have this person on your show, or like they want to see this from you guys or something. And like, man, if you cater to people's requests, like they actually like freak out when you do it, because they're like, whoa, they listen to me.
Yeah. I'm a singer-songwriter myself. So even just doing a cover that someone's asked me to do, it's like, you're not just behind a veil anymore. You're just a person, and they're suggesting something, you're doing it, and they love you for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally relate, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, like you, actually cater to people's requests, and they love it. They're like, whoa, they actually listen to me, and I don't know, like they'll like keep interacting with you, right? Like it's kind of like a two-way street, and people are always like, since the beginning of time, like asking me for guitar tabs on a daily basis. So I figured like that was going to be like my most popular kind of reward.
Oh,
and
smart.
so like I collaborated with the guys at Patreon, like me and his name's also Cole. I call him Cole too. And we just like talked back and forth for a while before I even launched, and to get like everything in place. And I had like a big list of stuff, and we kind of just like went down the checklist, and we're like, okay, don't do this. Like this is gonna be really hard. Like things that you have to mail stuff to people. That is like insane, man. Because like think of like if your page keeps growing and growing, and you have like 90 patrons you have to mail stuff to every month, you're gonna get like this insane bill in the mail for mailing shit.
Even just time.
And time.
You have to hire, and then you have to hire someone to do it, and there's no money. And
I only had 20 people to do it too, and I had to do it twice a month, and it was like, it's insane.
Well, I wanted to ask you, a lot of YouTubers make money off of YouTube because their content's completely original and they're able to monetize that. Now, it gets a little gets a little convoluted when you're doing covers, because doesn't YouTube automatically send that revenue to the original, like the artist who originally wrote the song? Although it should kind of be split, because if you really get down to the nuts and bolts about it, I mean, there should be I think it's a performance royalty, and Ross, help me out, what's the other one? It's
so the performer would get the performance royalty, and the writer would get the mechanical royalty.
Right. Yep. But YouTube doesn't seem to do that. They seem to just say, oh, this is a cover, we're going to send all the money to the artist, which I don't think is quite fair. So, how do you go about actually generating an income stream from YouTube, if you do? And is that why, and if you don't, is that why you kind of got on the Patreon wagon?
Man, it's like, welcome to my life right here. Like, it's so weird, because if I knew like the loopholes around that like years ago, it would be like a totally different story. But I ended up partnering with a company called Fullscreen.net, if you guys have heard of them, and they basically are like a network that they started doing this recently, like a year ago, and they will actually go and get the rights for these cover songs, like the ones that I did like from scratch. So like I don't use the MP3 or any original samples from the actual song in it, and they will go and get the rights for it for me, and then we'll do an 80-20 split. So I get 80% of the profit, they get 20, and then I don't get a copyright claim where I get 0%, right?
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Encouraging
so
too, actually.
It's really worth like looking into, man. Helped me out a lot.
How does that work? Do you have to get to a certain point where they will work with you, or can anyone kind of contact Fullscreen.net?
I don't know, because like I think that there's like a certain point where because I had to apply for it, so I think that there is like a certain point where they have like a cutoff, like you get X amount of views a month or something, or
of course, or subscribers, or
yeah. But I think anyone could, like, man, I would try reaching out to them. Like, you should. Like, they make profit no matter what. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's worth doing, and man, it like changed everything for me for sure. And then on top of that, like I can sell these covers on iTunes, that's like my biggest one. And then I can use it to advertise like guitar lessons too, which was huge. And I love doing those. Like that's a blast. And selling guitar tabs too. So like all those things put together on top of Patreon was actually it was good. Like I could live off of that for sure.
Yet you still have a day job.
Yeah, I still have a day job.
Is that just because you have a passion for it?
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You're like, kind of, I just like extra money.
If I was to ever like take the plunge and like make a move like down to the States or something, it'd be nice to just have a little like safety net, you know?
Absolutely.
But, yeah, that's like the main thing, but hopefully my employer doesn't watch this.
So, Ross, you would agree with me, I think, that a lot of artists tend to hesitate, have hesitation on supporting other artists, and let alone even collaborating or anything with other artists, which is insane. You know, they think there's this battle and competition rather than, wait, we're all in this together.
That's so silly, man.
Yeah, and Cole, you know that we're all in this together. You obviously can tell that just by what you do on YouTube. What would you say to artists who feel that way?
Don't. like that's the simplest
one word answer. Don't. Or as Ross would say, like, don't be a douche.
Yeah, don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche. That's it.
So true, man. Like seriously. Like I mean, I feel like everyone to a degree, especially when you're like competing with other people like that, there's gotta be like you're like happy for somebody, but there's like a little slice of jealousy there that you're like, when somebody does well and you're just like, oh, wish that was me kind of thing.
Well, that's human.
But like, it goes so much farther to like give that person a compliment or something than to do nothing about it and just kind of just like sulk and be like, oh man, like I wish that was me. Like I wish like I got lucky like that and stuff. Like, no, it's like they put in the work. Like you put in the work and you meet some awesome people and you're just nice to everybody and stuff. Like it does pay off. It absolutely does.
And also just sharing other people's art. I started doing that recently, and not for any ulterior motive, not to have anyone share anything back of mine, but I just wanted to, for my following, actually, I just wanted to share what I'm into, and it actually indirectly gets them to know me a little bit more by knowing what I'm into or what kind of music and art I appreciate. I mean, if anyone reciprocates that, awesome, that's a bonus, but that can't be your intention either. Even like for yourself, bringing people into your videos, it can't be like you're never guaranteed they're ever going to share it with their following, you know what I mean, and really push it. But I think that if they do, it's a huge bonus, right? Because then there's a whole new slew of people checking out your videos.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like I've been so fortunate with like everybody I've collaborated with has been just like awesome to work with, like super good communication, like absolutely no issues. All the AR teams I deal with for like the sponsors and stuff, like the best dudes. Like they're so easy to get in contact with, which is like something I've had issues with like management and stuff in the past.
Right.
And man, like everybody I work with now, like I love all of them. Like they're so good to work with.
So you said you do an 80-20 split, 80 going to you. Now, when you work with other artists, is there a split going to them as well? Or is that something it's an understanding that you take that 80% and that's yours?
That's like for the network pay. So it depends on like who I'm collaborating with, because sometimes they just want the exposure. Other times I like, also too, like if I have to pay for their vocal tracking and I pay for their vocal production, then it's like all the profit's going to go to me. Like that's just the way that I run it. Cause sometimes I'll have to like throw down a few $100s to get somebody on a track because they don't have means of tracking themselves, or they don't have means of like producing their own vocals. So like I'll gladly throw down like the fees for that, and in order to get them, because I'm like, hey, like it's so much more worth it. Like it pays for itself, and then they're happy with that because then they get on the track, it's paid for, and they get the exposure.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, there's different ways of being paid.
So.
Ross and I have talked about that quite often.
Yeah, I think as long as everyone understands in advance and everyone agrees on it, anything goes. As long as everyone's happy, I think anything goes.
So basically, it's per project basis, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's different for everybody I work with, but like like up to this point, man, no issues with anybody. It's been so lucky. Like sometimes you'll be working with somebody on a project and they just like aren't pulling their weight, and you're just like, all right, like what am I gonna do? Because I don't want to like piss them off, but I need to get this done, kind of thing, and I don't really ever have to deal with that. So I'm lucky.
Nice, Cole. Are you ready for 20 questions?
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Actually, no, tea. I changed that.
Okay.
Meat or veggies?
Meat, absolutely.
Twitter or Facebook?
Twitter.
Horror or comedy?
Horror. I'm always like on the search for like actually good horror movies, and I constantly punish myself with terrible horror movies.
Like good ones, not crappy ones. I got you. I'm with you.
So rare.
Oh yeah. Yoga or yogurt?
Yogurt.
Hello, we're asking you.
Linkin Park or 30 Seconds to Mars?
Oh, that's so tough, man.
Two great bands.
Linkin
I saw
Park.
them. Did you see them when they went on tour together?
Man, my girlfriend got me tickets for my birthday, and Chester broke his leg, and we couldn't go.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I saw them both play together in Toronto earlier this year. I think it was. I don't know.
Don't tell me that, man. That's
It was terrible. It wasn't good at all. It wasn't one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Oh, that's the worst.
Friends or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
Because apparently we're stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, love it.
Fall Out Boy or Panic at the Disco?
Man, you guys are giving me such hard ones here. Panic. I pick Panic for sure.
Batman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Oh, I'd pick Batman. Actually, that's a tough one. I would still pick Batman.
This is like, man, people are gonna hate me for this. Like, you're giving me such tough questions. I'm like biased.
Oh,
So, House of Cards or Orange is the New Black?
I've never actually seen House of Cards, and I've been like meaning to for so long. I probably have to say Orange is the New Black.
Breaking Bad or Homeland?
Breaking Bad. Love that show. Those are my favorite shows ever.
Yeah,
Agreed.
me too. PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox guy.
Me too, even though PlayStation actually is better technology. But
Yeah, man. That PlayStation 4 actually apparently kicks the shit out of the Xbox.
I know. But it's Halo that keeps me on. It's Halo, man.
Halo is tight.
Yeah. Purple Haze or Captain Chugs? These are two of his guitars for people who don't know.
Oh,
Yes.
man, you guys did your research. I love this.
Ross did, but
Purple Haze. Purple Haze is the nicest
Purple
guitar
Haze.
I've ever owned. Courtesy of ESP.
Nice.
Best company ever. I love them.
Vampires or zombies?
Zombies, man. Walking Dead.
We just had one of the actors from Walking Dead on the show, Jordan
What?
Woods
Who?
Robinson. Yeah, Jordan Woods
What?
Robinson. He's one of the
Yeah,
supporting.
he plays Eric.
That's, man, what? No way.
Yeah, he's a great
Yeah,
guy. Good
he's
That's
guy.
so cool.
Michael Jackson or Michael Bolton?
Man, do you guys remember Michael Bolton in that Lonely Island video?
Everyone references that. I've actually never seen it, and which is weird because I am such a big fan of Michael Bolton.
He's not joking. That's the funny part. Man. We both were raised with our moms loving Michael Bolton, so.
Dude, he's Captain Jack Sparrow. Dude, Ross, you got to watch it right after this. Educate yourself, my friend.
I'm
Who'd
gonna.
you pick? Who'd you pick?
Michael Jackson for sure.
Celine Dion or Marilyn Manson?
What? Marilyn Manson.
Good choice. Ricky Gervais or Ricky Martin?
Ricky Gervais.
Whale or Kale?
Never kale. Kale's the worst.
Oh, you're breaking my heart, man.
I'm so sorry, man. My old
every day.
roommate bought these kale chips, and they were like the most disgusting thing.
they were just a bad brand.
Yeah.
Kale chips were good.
Whale for sure, but not at SeaWorld.
Good for you. Good for you. Bette Midler or the Riddler?
Wait, what was it? The Riddler or what?
Or Bette Midler?
I don't know who Bette Midler is, but the Riddler's cool.
Bette Midler. You don't. No, educate yourself, my son.
Yeah, educate yourself.
Get on there and find out who Bette Midler is. And the final question, just to make our guest feel extra awkward near the end of the interview, is...
Ross or Marcio?
Ross, duh. Hesitation.
Wow. That is the most non-hesitation I've ever seen. Wow.
I
I'm
love
like
the-
thoroughly,
my
thoroughly
favorite
insulted.
part. My favorite part was the duh.
Wow. Wow.
I knew I had to do it without any hesitation, just to like throw you both a curveball.
Wow.
But I love both of you guys.
Well, I'm just going to sit out for the rest of the interview. Ross, you could finish things up.
I'm just kidding, man. Yo, we got to hang in Toronto.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, absolutely. What's on your iPod lately, or iPhone, or whatever you use, equivalent smartphone crap? What are you listening
Devices
to?
are available.
Other devices are available upon requests.
Is this still part of yeah, shit.
Yes, this is still part of the show.
No, I was gonna say part of the lightning round, but
No.
man, if somebody ever got a hold of my iPod, they would probably be like so puzzled.
Well, what's the top 3 artists you've been listening to over the last month or so?
Since I've been working on an EP over the past 3 months, and it's like I'm trying to do like electronic music, kind of like current electronic music with like my style of guitar playing, which is like super like rock and roll, like 80s, like shreddy kind of stuff, and put that over top of it. Kind of similar like to, have you guys heard of Lindsay Sterling before?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I actually emailed her to see if she'd come on the show, but she was too busy.
Oh, she got back to you?
Her assistant got back to me, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh man,
She's awesome. I love the track that she did with Lizzie Hale.
That's the
Because
one.
I love Lizzie Hale. Lizzie Hale is fucking awesome. And
She's got such a good voice, man.
one of the best female voices in rock.
Dude,
Sure.
Shatter that. Yeah, that song "Shatter Me." The video is so cool. The image for the whole thing is like that. The image for that entire thing was so sick, man. Like in the clock tower, and like Lindsay Sterling, and like the ball is like in the snow globe type thing is like the little ballerina thing. That it was so sick. I loved it, and they work with like the coolest crew like all the time for all those videos. So I was listening to like that whole album, the whole Shatter Me album, and I was like, this is sweet. Like she did like dubstep mixed with like classical violin, and I'm kind of going for more like a mix between like house, dubstep, and like my style of guitar playing. So that's what I've been working on. So I've been listening to artists like I started off listening to like Cruella's album, if you guys have heard of them. And then I started getting more into like Zed, Adventure Club. They're from Montreal, actually, and they kill it. Like, they're so awesome. And then I came across this artist called Cash, and I think it's like 3 guys. And they've done some like insane remixes with this other group called Tritonal. So those are like the electronic artists I've been into. But aside from that, I listen to pop music all the time, man. I love good melodies. So
me too, man. It's gotta get. I can listen to just about everything.
Yeah.
If it has good melody.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. And my roommates listen. Like, one of them just loves death metal. Like, he just loves it. And he's always like making fun of me, and I'm just like, well, man, like, I don't know. I love everything with like a good melody. It's something that gets stuck in your head. But there's also those like horrible songs that get stuck in your head that have like this just like infectious melody, and you just can't get it out. But
suicidal melody.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna start saying that. That is
there you go. I just made that up. So just trademark Marcin Melly. So everyone can check you out at Cole Rolland on Twitter, which is Cole Rolland. That's 2 L's, and your YouTube / Facebook. Both of them are /CR. Canada.
Yeah, that's what I started off like calling it. Yeah, and then I wanted to change them to Cole Rolland, but I thought it would confuse people.
Yeah, especially once you build up such a following. Yeah,
that'd be weird.
Awesome. And I'm currently writing for my next solo album, and I've just released my side project, Midnight Soundtrack's debut album, Foreplay. Speaking about electronic music, that's my electronic side project. You can hear my music on marcinnovelli.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, everywhere, and they're all /Marciano
And I'm working on websites for various artists at the moment. You can check out my work and my blogs at electrickiwi.co.uk. You'll find me on Twitter and Instagram as Electric Kiwi, and on Facebook, Electric Kiwi Design.
This episode was brought to you by our good friend Chris Keaton Presents. Find out more about what Chris does and how he can help you at chriskeaton.com.
And if you'd like to sponsor the show, visit bridge-the-atlantic.com/sponsors.
Cole, this has been awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Man, I'd love to do it again. This is a blast.
Thanks for watching Bridge the Atlantic. If you like what you saw, make sure to like, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss each week's episode.
Click on the videos above us if you'd like to see more, and please feel free to leave us a comment letting us know what you think of the show.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to us on iTunes so that you can listen to us on the go. Thanks again for being awesome, and we'll see you on next week's episode.